So we do have James Cordero. He is with Border Kindness, and he is in charge of the water drops that happen along our southern border in some of the remote areas. Good morning, James. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see you again.
I know that you guys did a water drop yesterday. Can you walk our viewers through what a water drop looks like and the work that goes into it?
Sure. So Border Kindness water drops, we take volunteers out to the remote areas along the U.S.-Mexico border in the state of California, into the borderlands there where migrants are crossing through by foot to get into the country. And we're out there, we take food, water, and right now, since we're in the winter season, we take beanies, gloves, socks, sweaters, sweatshirts, hoodies, all that to help minimize the suffering and death that does unfortunately happen along the border there for many every year.
And James, how did you get involved in this, and why are you so passionate about it?
Yeah, so I started just about 8 years ago doing this, and I just responded to just a Facebook ad for another organization that we used to be a part of. And I went out there with a friend, and we were out there for a short period of time. It was in the summer when it was really hot. So it kind of got you thinking that, like, if we're out there helping our own volunteers that are having heat issues for just a short hike, then there's people that are walking for days on end for their lives. And it's one of those that, myself, my partner, a lot of people on our team, we all have a connection to people crossing, our families. And so we just pay it forward because we're here because our relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, James, 2023 was a unique year along the San Diego border. Can you break down some of the trends that you saw?
Yeah, 2023 has been a lot different than most years. We started seeing in the beginning of May, when Title 42 was ended, we saw a large amount of migrants coming through to present themselves for asylum, and they were stuck in outdoor encampments that we call outdoor open-air detention sites, because Border Patrol, keeps people out there, for sometimes days on end until they can take them in for processing. And so we started that with the help of a lot of community members out near Pacumba Boulevard and those desert communities where a lot of migrants were stranded for days on end. So we helped provide food, whatever type of shelter, medical assistance that we could. Then in the middle of September, there was a big rise in the same type of thing of people coming through seeking asylum.
And joining us right now, we do have James Cordero back with us from Border Kindness. He's in charge of the water drops in the more rugged terrain along our southern border. So James, you got cut off there at the end. So tell us a little bit about your goal. Every time you go out there, what is your goal when you walk away from these water drops?
Our goal out there when we go out every week is to make sure that we have enough supplies out on the active migrant routes that we'll be able to help those out that are coming through that may not be prepared enough or may not be able to afford enough to take care of themselves on their journey. So that's why we leave food, water, protective clothing, and stuff like that. So it makes the journey, a little less difficult as far as like suffering, and we definitely want to avoid, anyone dying along the borderlands, and that's something that's just been happening too much and increasing every year. So every week that we go out there, that's our efforts, just to make sure that people don't get injured, don't get heat stroke, don't freeze, and don't die.
And James, I've been, interviewed a bunch of these migrants, and, a lot of them, they experience violence in their home country, and they just don't have a place to go back to. When you're speaking to these people, what are their stories? What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, a lot of it, when we do interact with folks, is that they're fleeing their home countries and they're leaving their homes for many reasons, whether it's economic, whether it's religious persecution, whether it's due to climate change. There's a variety of different reasons, and a lot of it also is due to violence with organized crime in their home countries, in their states, their cities that they live in. One person in particular, he was also on ABC. He was interviewed with me last time I was on in a separate little piece. He was from Turkey. and he had a car dealership out there, and it was one of the few car dealerships in his town. And so he was, a upstanding citizen in his community, and because of his religion, he said the government, torched his business, and so he had no way to take care of himself. And now he's got the issue of fearing for his life, and so that's why him and his wife fled Turkey and came to the United States. And I still communicate with him to this day, and he's got his life starting here in America, and he's starting to do all right.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, James.